Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has searched for ways to transcend the limitations of the physical world, to silence the restless mind, and to momentarily escape the burdens of existence. Across cultures and centuries, people have turned to substances that alter perception, seeking solace, inspiration, or a gateway to something beyond the ordinary. Among them, alcohol remains the most widely embraced, woven into rituals of joy and sorrow alike. But behind its social acceptance lies an often overlooked truth: its profound spiritual effects. While it is praised for its revelry, few stop to consider its deeper consequences. Tonight, we embark on a journey to uncover the hidden spiritual dimensions of alcohol. What happens beyond the physical when we consume it? What wisdom did ancient masters pass down about its true nature? The story of alcohol is more than the history of a drink. It is intertwined with humanity's quest for transformation. To understand its mystery, we must trace the origins of its very name, peeling back the layers of language and ancient knowledge. In Arabic, the term Al-Kuhl reveals an insight long forgotten, a key to unlocking a greater understanding of its unseen power. The word alcohol first referred to a dark powder used as an eye cosmetic, but its meaning stretched beyond the material. For early alchemists, it signified the purest essence, the spirit extracted from a substance through distillation. This process was not just chemistry, it was a mystical practice, an attempt to separate the essence from the body. Even today, we call alcoholic drinks spirits, echoing this ancient knowledge, yet the deeper translation of Al-Kuhl as body-eating spirit hints at something far more unsettling. It suggests that alcohol is not merely an intoxicant, but a force that interacts with the unseen aspects of our being. Long before modern science dissected its effects, ancient civilizations revered alcohol as both a sacred gift and a dangerous tool. The Sumerians, Egyptians, and Greeks honored its role in religious rituals. In Mesopotamia, priests poured offerings of beer and wine to their gods, believing the drink carried divine favor. The Egyptians connected it to Osiris, the god of rebirth, while the Greeks dedicated it to Dionysus, the deity of ecstatic transformation. Yet spiritual traditions also carried warnings. Alcohol could lift the veil of illusion, but also invite chaos. It could reveal truth, but just as easily strip away reason, leaving the drinker vulnerable to unseen forces. In the Islamic world, the understanding of alcohol took a different path. While religious teachings forbade its consumption, alchemists continued to explore its properties. The scholar Jabir ibn Hayyan, known to the West as Jibir, advanced the science of distillation, refining the process that would define alcohol as we know it today. Yet, as the centuries passed, what was once part of alchemical exploration became an everyday indulgence. A substance once regarded as a mystical element now serves the opposite purpose, disconnecting rather than enlightening. The modern world embraces it as a means of escape, but its deeper effects remain unseen. Beyond its impact on the body and mind, alcohol affects something even more delicate: the human energy field. Many spiritual traditions describe an invisible essence surrounding us, a luminous field often referred to as the aura. This energy body is not simply metaphorical. It is the bridge between the physical and the unseen, a vibrational frequency that reflects our spiritual state. When alcohol enters the system, it does not just alter brain chemistry. It disrupts the subtle energy field, creating fractures that weaken our spiritual defenses. These disruptions make individuals more susceptible to external energies, some of which may not have benevolent intentions. Ancient wisdom teaches that what we consume is more than nourishment. It shapes our energy, our consciousness, and our connection to higher realms. Alcohol, in its deceptive allure, momentarily lowers inhibitions, but in doing so it opens pathways that we do not always control. Many esoteric traditions warn that excessive drinking makes individuals vulnerable, not just in the physical world, but in the spiritual realms as well. The question is no longer whether alcohol affects us, but how deeply and in what ways. If we truly seek clarity, wisdom, and higher understanding, we must ask ourselves, what are we inviting into our lives with every sip? Rudolf Steiner, the visionary behind anthroposophy, warned that alcohol consumption weakens the spiritual core, leaving the human psyche vulnerable to unseen forces. This disruption creates openings in the energy field, inviting influences that thrive on addiction and imbalance. In many mystical traditions, These entities are known as thought forms, astral parasites, or obsessing spirits, energies that feed on the vulnerabilities of human consciousness. When the aura is compromised, the connection to the higher self, the divine intelligence that guides and protects us, becomes fractured. Instead of walking with clarity and purpose, we drift aimlessly, like a ship without a compass, susceptible to emotional instability and mental fog. The effects of alcohol do not stop at the mind and emotions. They seep into the subtle energetic centers of the body. Spiritual traditions describe the chakras as wheels of energy that regulate our vitality and perception of reality. Alcohol disrupts this balance, overstimulating the root chakra, the center of physical desire and survival instincts, while dampening the crown chakra, which connects us to divine wisdom. This creates a spiritual disconnect. The temporary pleasure of intoxication anchors the consciousness in the material world, drawing it away from higher truths. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali emphasize the necessity of purity in both body and mind to access elevated states of awareness. Likewise, Paramahansa Yogananda cautioned that alcohol dims the light of the spirit, casting shadows where there should be illumination. Even modern neuroscience supports what ancient wisdom has long known. Studies show that alcohol suppresses activity in the frontal cortex, the region responsible for self-awareness, reasoning, and moral discernment. In this state, the mind is less capable of reflection, leaving space for unconscious patterns and external influences to take over. This effect is magnified in collective spaces where alcohol is consumed. Bars, clubs, and festivals, though seemingly vibrant, often radiate a dense, chaotic energy. When multiple people drink in the same environment, their individual energy fields merge, creating an atmosphere of heightened emotion but diminished awareness. This is why traditional spiritual paths often discourage not just drinking, but even spending time in places where alcohol dominates the energy. Yet, the human energy field is remarkably adaptable and can heal from these disruptions. Ancient wisdom offers a path back to alignment through practices that restore spiritual equilibrium. Meditation strengthens the mind's discipline, cleansing energy distortions. Breathwork and yoga realign the chakras, rebalancing the connection between body and spirit. Energy healing modalities like Reiki or Qigong work to seal the tears in the aura, re-establishing the protective boundary between oneself and external influences. But healing requires conscious intent, a decision to move beyond indulgence and reclaim clarity. The question is not just whether alcohol harms us, but whether we are willing to choose a path that nourishes our higher self rather than weakens it. Still, alcohol remains one of humanity's oldest temptations. It has been woven into cultural traditions, religious ceremonies, and moments of celebration for thousands of years. People reach for it to loosen their inhibitions, to momentarily forget their burdens, or to feel connected to others. But why do we long for this escape? What is it about this substance that entices us, despite our awareness of its effects? Perhaps the answer lies not in alcohol itself, but in the deeper void it seeks to fill. Is it the illusion of freedom we crave, or is it a sign that, at our core, we are searching for something greater, an unshakable peace that intoxication can never provide? At the heart of humanity's attraction to alcohol lies a silent yearning, a disconnection from our true nature that drives us to seek solace outside ourselves. Since the earliest days of civilization, humans have wrestled with the weight of existence, searching for ways to transcend the mind, escape suffering, and momentarily silence the restless inner dialogue. Alcohol appears as an enticing solution, a liquid escape promising ease, confidence, and liberation. It whispers of lightness, of a temporary relief from the burdens of self-awareness. Yet, beneath this illusion, alcohol does not set us free. It momentarily blurs the prison walls, only to tighten their grip once the haze clears. Like a mirage in the desert, the effects of alcohol lure us in with the promise of transformation. Inhibitions dissolve, fears seem distant, and for a fleeting moment we feel untouchable. The reserved individual suddenly speaks their mind. The shy man finds courage to approach a stranger. But what is this courage if it vanishes with the sunrise? What is this freedom if it evaporates with sobriety? The illusion is complete. We believe we are stepping into our power, when in reality we are drifting further from it. The Hermetic tradition speaks of the eternal quest for unity, the unus mundus, the primordial state of oneness with the universe. But in seeking fulfillment through alcohol, we turn away from true unity and toward the transient, the external, the perishable. The more we chase connection outside ourselves, the deeper the void within us grows. History's greatest spiritual minds have spoken of this dilemma. Plato, in his allegory of the cave, described the soul's journey as an ascent from illusion to truth, from the shadows of deception to the light of awareness. Lao Tzu, in the Tao Te Ching, urged humanity to flow with the natural order, to find balance in simplicity rather than seeking escape in indulgence. Across cultures, sages and mystics have pointed toward a path of genuine awakening, one that requires presence, not numbing, awareness, not distraction. Yet modern life conditions us to avoid discomfort at all costs, to drown uncertainty in a glass, to trade self-mastery for fleeting oblivion. On a psychological level, alcohol becomes a mechanism of avoidance, reinforcing patterns of dependency that extend beyond the physical. Most people do not drink for the taste alone. They drink to suppress the whispers of their inner world, to numb emotions too heavy to carry. When stress, anxiety, or sorrow rise, alcohol offers an easy sedative, a momentary break from the storm. But what happens when the storm is not weathered, only delayed? The unprocessed pain lingers beneath the surface, waiting, and so a cycle is born. Drink to forget, return to the same suffering, drink again. The mind convinces itself that alcohol provides comfort, yet the deeper truth remains. Each escape leads not to resolution, but to an ever-growing chasm between who we are and who we long to be. True liberation does not come from excess or avoidance. It emerges from understanding, from stepping into the discomfort and allowing it to transform us. The real question is not whether alcohol is good or bad, but why we feel the need to escape our own reality in the first place. If the present moment is unbearable without distraction, then the work is not in drowning it out, but in healing the parts of ourselves that resist stillness. Throughout history, spiritual traditions have echoed this wisdom. Their words are not rules imposed from morality, but guides meant to protect the soul's evolution. The warning against alcohol is not about restriction. It is about preservation of clarity, the safeguarding of a connection too precious to be dulled. In Vedic teachings, alcohol is believed to reduce sattva, the quality of harmony, light, and spiritual purity. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that a clear mind is essential for self-realization, and anything that disturbs this clarity is an obstacle on the path to higher awareness. The qualities of rajas, restlessness, and tamas, ignorance, are heightened by alcohol, clouding perception, and leading the practitioner further from stillness. Similarly, the Buddha's teachings on the Noble Eightfold Path advise against intoxicants, not as a rigid rule, but as a means of preserving mindfulness. To cloud the mind is to step away from truth, to disconnect from the awareness necessary to perceive nirvana, the ultimate liberation. Many Buddhist communities extend this principle beyond personal practice, recognizing the collective impact of intoxication. Alcohol does not merely affect the individual, it influences the energy of entire spaces, lowering the vibrational frequency and creating an environment where consciousness is dulled, emotions are heightened, and awareness is compromised. This is why the practice of sila, or ethical discipline, encourages abstaining from substances that alter the mind. In Hermetic and alchemical traditions, alcohol was understood as both a tool and a test, a substance capable of distilling essence, yet equally capable of dissolving the self. The alchemists sought transformation through wisdom, not intoxication, for they knew that the reckless consumption of spirits would lead not to enlightenment, but to spiritual fragmentation. The question remains, why does alcohol maintain its grip on humanity? Despite the knowledge, despite the warnings, why do we return to the illusion? Perhaps it is because at our core we are searching, not for intoxication, but for transcendence. But the path to transcendence does not lie at the bottom of a bottle. It lies within, in the stillness we so often try to avoid, in the courage to face ourselves, unaltered, unfiltered, and whole. True freedom is not found in what dulls the senses. It is found in awakening to the full depth of our being. The journey home is not outward but inward. The real question is, are we willing to walk it? A remarkable insight comes from the Sufi tradition, where wine is often invoked as a symbol of divine intoxication, the rapture of love that dissolves the ego and unites the soul with the eternal. Rumi, the great mystical poet, sang of this spiritual inebriation, describing the ecstasy of divine presence as a sweetness far beyond earthly pleasure. Yet, he also cautioned against the literal consumption of wine, warning that it could derail seekers from their true journey. For the Sufis, real intoxication is not found in a bottle, but in the overwhelming experience of spiritual awakening. To drink from the cup of worldly indulgence is to become heavy and forgetful. To drink from the cup of divine love is to become weightless and free. In Christianity, alcohol occupies a paradoxical role, at once sacred and potentially destructive. Wine plays a central role in the Eucharist, symbolizing Christ's blood and the covenant between humanity and the divine. Yet from the earliest days of the Church, spiritual teachers warned of the dangers of excess. St. Augustine described drunkenness as a self-inflicted exile from grace, a voluntary descent into ignorance that separates the soul from its highest calling. The saints and mystics who sought deep communion with the divine understood that clarity was the gateway to true prayer and contemplation. A mind clouded by indulgence struggles to discern the voice of wisdom. And so, the warnings persist across centuries. The problem is not in the wine itself, but in the way it is used, whether as a tool for sacred communion or as a means of escape. In shamanic traditions, alcohol is regarded as a double-edged sword. Many indigenous shamans refuse to consume it, believing that it weakens the energy body and diminishes spiritual protection. The light body, known in various traditions as the aura or energetic shield, serves as a barrier between an individual's consciousness and the unseen forces of the universe. When alcohol is consumed without awareness, it is believed to create fractures in this energy field, allowing lower vibrational entities, sometimes called astral parasites or energy feeders, to attach themselves to the drinker. These entities thrive on confusion, indulgence, and forgetfulness, drawing energy from those who lose control of their consciousness. This is why many spiritual teachings emphasize the importance of alignment with the axis mundi, the sacred center that connects us to the cosmic order. When this alignment is broken, we become disoriented, unable to access intuition, clarity, or higher states of awareness. However, not all spiritual traditions condemn alcohol outright. Some acknowledge that, when used intentionally and within sacred rituals, it can serve as a catalyst for altered states of perception. In certain indigenous ceremonies, alcohol has been used sparingly under the guidance of spiritual elders who understand its effects on the subtle planes. The key difference lies in its purpose, whether it is consumed as a tool for expansion or as an unconscious escape. The line between spiritual ecstasy and energetic degradation is razor thin, requiring great discernment to walk without falling into illusion. The question then arises, does alcohol elevate us toward wisdom, or does it pull us deeper into the shadows of forgetfulness? The wisdom of the ancients offers us an answer. Socrates, the great philosopher of self-inquiry, taught that true mastery of life begins with mastery of the self. For him, balance was the foundation of both philosophy and spirituality. A life without discipline, without the ability to restrain the impulses of the lower self, would lead to chaos and suffering. To surrender to indulgence without reflection is to hand over our will to forces that do not serve our highest good. Socrates did not condemn pleasure, but he warned against the mindless pursuit of it, recognizing that true freedom lies not in indulgence, but in the ability to choose with awareness. These teachings invite us to reflect on a simple yet profound question: does alcohol, in our moments of leisure and celebration, bring us closer to our essence, or does it pull us further away? Does it connect us to the divine, or does it merely create an illusion of connection, a temporary euphoria that fades into emptiness? The wisdom of the great masters does not come from moral rigidity, but from an understanding of the unseen forces that shape our reality. They remind us that the deepest intoxication is not of the body but of the soul, the rapture of awakening, the clarity of self-realization, the bliss of being fully present. After uncovering the origins of alcohol, its effects on the energy body, and the spiritual warnings that echo through time, we arrive at the most pressing question: how do we break free? How do we transcend this cycle, not just of alcohol consumption, but of reliance on anything external to fill an internal void. The answer lies not in forceful rejection, but in awareness. The moment we understand the impact of alcohol on our body, mind, and spirit, something shifts within us. This shift is the first spark of transformation. It is the moment we stop acting on autopilot, no longer moving through life governed by unconscious habits. We begin to ask the deeper questions. Why do we reach for alcohol? What is it that we are truly seeking? For many, the answer lies in the silent emptiness that lingers beneath the surface, the ache of disconnection from something greater than ourselves. Like all forms of escapism, alcohol offers a temporary refuge but never addresses the source of the suffering. It acts as a veil, a mask that momentarily dulls the discomfort. But a mask cannot heal what lies beneath. Sooner or later it slips, revealing the unprocessed emotions, the unresolved fears, the silent longing that remains. True liberation is not found in extremes, neither indulgence nor repression, but in returning to our center, to the place within us that requires no external crutch. When we begin to cultivate inner stillness, when we engage in practices that bring genuine clarity, whether through meditation, breathwork, movement, or contemplation, the need for artificial escape begins to fade. We come to realize that the peace we seek has always been within us. It was never in the bottle. It was never in the external world. It was waiting in the silence, in the awareness, in the simple but profound act of being fully awake. So the final question remains, what will you choose? To seek freedom in something that binds you, or to embrace the journey home, to a clarity so deep that no illusion is needed, to a presence so full that no escape is required? The choice, as always, is yours. To break free from this cycle, we must turn inward, to the space where true healing begins. The answers we seek have never been outside of us. They have always resided in the stillness within. Spiritual practice becomes a guiding light on this journey. Through meditation, yoga, conscious breathing, prayer, and other sacred disciplines, we restore balance to the body and mind. These practices strengthen the energetic field, sealing the fractures that once left us vulnerable to external influences. As we cultivate inner silence, the wounds we have long buried begin to surface, but instead of seeking to numb them, we allow them to be seen, to be understood, and ultimately to be healed. And in this healing, a profound realization arises. The peace we sought in the external world was never missing. It was simply waiting to be uncovered. Various spiritual traditions offer wisdom for overcoming addiction, each revealing a pathway back to clarity. In Buddhism, mindfulness teaches us to observe cravings rather than be controlled by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we learn to pause, to breathe, to witness our desires without attachment. Through this practice, we become conscious participants in our lives rather than prisoners of automatic behavior. Christianity offers another perspective, one of grace. The sacred teaching reminds us that we are never alone in our struggles. The divine presence is always near, waiting for us to reach out, for as it is written, "Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and the door will be opened." Whether through silent contemplation or heartfelt prayer, we are constantly supported in our journey toward liberation. Reconnecting with nature is another powerful step. Alcohol disrupts our natural equilibrium, severing our connection to the rhythms of the earth. Yet, by immersing ourselves in the wilderness, standing barefoot on the soil, listening to the whispers of the wind, breathing in the scent of the ocean, we begin to remember. Nature's energy is both cleansing and harmonizing, helping to detoxify not only the body but also the mind and spirit. And then there is gratitude, the quiet yet transformative force that shifts our perspective. So often, alcohol is used to escape what we perceive as an unfulfilling reality. Yet when we cultivate gratitude, we see life through a new lens. Even the smallest moments, sunlight filtering through leaves, the warmth of a shared smile, the presence of breath itself, become reminders of the beauty that has always surrounded us. Gratitude does not just fill the empty spaces within us, it dissolves them entirely, revealing that they were never empty to begin with. Yet, I know that change is never as simple as words make it seem. It is one thing to understand the path and another to walk it, but every journey begins with a single step, and that step is intention. My purpose is not to tell you what to do, but to remind you of what you already know deep within. You are not bound by anything. You are not a prisoner to habits, cravings, or substances. You are the master of your consciousness. Happiness, fulfillment, and peace are not found in external things. They are cultivated from within. And while this is a personal journey, it does not have to be a lonely one. Surrounding yourself with those who uplift, inspire, and support your growth can make all the difference. Whether through spiritual communities, meditation circles, or simply friends who walk the path of awareness, connection strengthens our resolve. Together, we remember what it means to live with clarity. But perhaps the most important step of all is forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. Many carry guilt or shame over past choices, believing they are defined by their mistakes. Yet, as Rumi so beautifully wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Our struggles are not burdens, they are invitations to transform. The mistakes of our past do not condemn us, they shape us, teach us, and ultimately lead us to deeper understanding. Breaking free from alcohol is not merely about giving up a substance. It is about embracing a new way of being, one that reflects the truth of who we are. Imagine this transformation as a tree reborn in spring. Even after the harshness of winter, when all seemed barren, life returns. The branches, once empty, bloom with new leaves, reaching toward the sky with renewed strength. So it is with the soul when it chooses liberation. It is not merely recovery, it is rebirth. And in this rebirth, we realize that alcohol was never the enemy, it was merely a shadow along our path, reminding us of the light we had forgotten. For shadows cannot exist without light. And when we turn toward that light, toward awareness, toward truth, we step into the fullness of our being. So the question remains, are you ready? Are you willing to look beyond what the external world offers and step into the infinite source of peace, joy, and clarity that has always been within you? The path has always been here, waiting. The choice, as always, is yours. Thank you for watching.